Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, Lilith, and happy calendar New Year 2024. I hope everybody had a really good calendar New Year weekend, and today, new day. This is a very good day to present what I would like to talk about today. Today's title of the workshop, or excuse me, my class today, or discussion, I should say. It's not really a class, but it is my discussion on Lilith, the mother of Brotherhood. And of course, it's in my Master Counselor Book of Devilish Deeds. And it is the last of my set of videos that I recently said I would have done before the middle of January, to be culminated with next week's The Brotherhood in Hollywood. Wow. But today, we're talking about Lilith, the mother of the Brotherhood. And this is a very important subject to bring about and to be discussing today in a new year, right? Not only does the Brotherhood seek to move us forward in honor of our Master Saint, we also want to move us forward in honor of our mother, Lilith. So to Drew, this was a very important thing to be said. This discussion today about Lilith, the mother of the Brotherhood. And it's a time for this to be discussed. I'm really good about the timing of things. And this needed to be discussed. Let me first say that I was very honored by our Mother of Darkness and also the Daughters of Lilith. I'm one of the few males, I believe, that they feel comfortable with discussing Lilith. And basically, to be in truth with everybody, I can understand that 100%. All females represent the Dark Mother, okay, in many, many aspects, in whichever way they want to honor the Dark Divine Feminine, right? The Dark Feminine. It can be a number of goddesses that our female sisters in the Brotherhood may lean towards. We all have particular ones we love. Drew, I love Lilith. That's why I'm honoring her with the shirt here. When I first bought this shirt from Blackcraft, when it came in the mail to me, I had to give my own blood before Lilith would let me wear this shirt. There's another true story. Now, there's different ways to walk the satanic path, right? They're going to be personal for each of us. When I got this T-shirt, first of all, I loved it when I saw it because I love my mother, Lilith. And I said, I want it. So, of course, I ordered it. And when I ordered it, there was a gift included with it. It's another whole story. But when I opened the gift and pulled out the shirt, I went to open the gift, sliced myself on my finger here, and it was a very good gash, okay? It was a lot of blood. Okay, and my blood tasted good, like I said, about the rest of the story. But the point is this. She made me give my blood for me to be honored even to wear this T-shirt, guys. Okay, that's another reason that this discussion right now at this time is so important, okay? I want all Brotherhood Satanists to come in touch with themselves. You can't get to self-empowerment unless you're in touch with yourself first. Self-empowerment. Self equals individualism. Free thinkers. Free thinking. The way of the Satanist, right? Okay. But there's a timing of things. This is a time when men, in particular, need to get in touch with the Lilithian current as well. No, we were not born female. Okay? No disrespect to any of the new alternative genders out there. But us men were not born female. We were born men. Females all are the goddess. Every single female born on this planet represents her. But men often have a problem identifying with the feminine aspect of demonology or the feminine aspect of Lilith being the mother of the Brotherhood and those kind of things. Because within Satanism, the men tend to lean more with wearing our horns, right? And being, more of the satanic aspect or the Samael aspect, and those masculine powers, where the woman will identifies more with the Lilithian and those dark goddess energies and powers, right? Okay. But what men don't understand, and this is what Drew needs to be talking about today, why I want to talk about this. We're missing something, okay? And I'm going to get into that talk in a second. So first I want to talk about a little bit of a history for everybody, okay? And this is just a slight excerpt out of what was a coven class about primary dark goddesses used by Brotherhood covens, right? And this is some of my own ancestral knowledge that I have that I've learned from my family. Okay, so I'm basically saying here at the beginning of it, in fact, this Brotherhood coven class is derived from the teachings that were passed down by a noted Supreme Emeritus Mother of Darkness to her grandson, Druwydion Pendragon, in the late 1960s. Her name was Kaliak O'Rooney. The surname Rooney originated as the Gaelic version and variation spelling of O'Ruan Hab, which translates as those of the runestones. The Rooney Gaelic clan was an active familial line of the Grand Druid Council of the Brotherhood of Darkness. Okay, and this was a coven class on the primary dark goddesses honored by covens. I presented this back in November of last year. Okay, now I'm just going to talk a little bit about dark goddesses, okay? This needs to be mentioned, okay, before I continue on with what I want to say about Lilith. Before Brotherhood covens can look at working with those we know to be dark goddesses, let us first discover and discuss exactly what a dark goddess defines as being to the Brotherhood. Makes sense? The actual name dark goddess is usually connected to those goddesses that have much more darker aspects and attributes. However, the Brotherhood coven elders, most if not all of our deities have very macabre legends and stories attached to them. And in today's modern times, many today outside the Brotherhood have tended to simplify their views of these often not described as even being dark deities. In Brotherhood coven research, however, we have closely examined all of our ancient perceptions about the deities we still revere today. This usually shows even the brightest of deities to the ignorant all have their darker aspects. Wow. There were truly no goddesses that did not originate in the dark pagan cultures. And there were different aspects of a goddess or god that you appealed to or honored in a Brotherhood coven in a variety of magical circumstances. Some more Brotherhood classic examples are the lion-headed goddess Sekhmet and Isis of the Egyptian culture. Sekhmet is a goddess who represents the strength and ferocity of the noonday sun, the lightest time of the day. To the Brotherhood, Sekhmet is known for nearly wiping out humanity when they were being disrespectful to her father Ra. Sekhmet was a dark goddess that to the Brotherhood was the goddess who could either heal or send diseases. She embodies the qualities of healing and death, denoting both light and dark aspects. Isis, the Egyptian mother goddess and wife of Osiris, was also a mistress of magic. She gained this power by making a serpent out of Ra's spit and giving it to bite him. Nothing could cure him, and Isis would only heal him after he gave her his secret name, giving to her all powers of magic. So the Brotherhood knew Isis used her wiles and fooled Osiris and showed her dark side to get what she wanted, the powers of magic. Such aspects occur throughout the phases of our lives as Brotherhood coveners and beyond. From our very birth and our first appearance into the world, a generation of Brotherhood Satanists emerged from a dark cave of the goddess and absolutely knew that certainly There are dark goddesses associated with the transitions and transformations we undergo in our life. This means we know that the dark goddess was a divine midwife, and also is our first encounter with her in such forms as goddesses as the Egyptian Isis, Sekhmet, and also the frog goddess Hecate and hippopotamus goddess Turat. These, of course, are not beautiful or pretty goddesses. They are powerful primal entities, representing the mystery of birth at a time when civilization was in its infancy and man was struggling to balance the chaos he found around him. To placate nature, the deities were often depicted as anthropomorphic entities as they combined the human form with the animals in which were seen to have particular qualities. With the passing of time, the divine midwife was represented as being fully human in form, but a frightening aspect like Caradwin in the Celtic culture myths and legends, and Hecate in the Greek pantheon, and that pantheon of the Greek mythology. The next transitional stage in our lives is that of puberty, along with physical changes and what this brings. For women, this is the beginning of their coming into power as they first experience menstruation. Menstrual blood has had taboos attached to it in all cultures across the world throughout time. For the patriarchy, menstrual blood represented a feminine power they could never partake of, so it had to be controlled or subjugated. Menstrual blood symbolized feminine sexuality, which left men feeling excluded as well as frightened. It showed that the creative power of life resided in women, no matter how many creation myths the patriarch could come up with, showing male gods creating the world. Today, Brotherhood covens call this sacred menstrual blood star fire. After this, the whole question of the parentage enters the picture, for there can never be any doubt who, as a child's mother, is. But short of locking women away from sight, there is no way to ensure that a particular man was the father. Goddesses who were associated with sexuality and sexual pleasure, of the power of woman to attract men and provoke lust and desire, were very strong entities, so they came to be demonized by the early Christian church as representing unwholesome energies. We all know what a line of shit that was, right? The Brotherhood knew that women are encouraged to be demure, to subdue their desire for pleasure, and to be subservient to men. A goddess who challenged this notion and encouraged women to be proud of their sex and stand equal with men was inevitably, going to be labeled as evil and dark. The best illustration of this is Lilith. Lilith was Adam's first wife and was not made from him like later Eve was. Lilith did not want to lie under Adam in the missionary position, which minimized her pleasure and showed his dominance. Lilith wanted to be on top and to enjoy herself fully. So complained to Jehovah, if you believe any of that crap, right, about Jehovah. And Lilith used the power of the secret name of Jehovah to flee. The three angels sent after her were powerless to bring her back, as the Brotherhood story tells it. This shows the divine nature of Lilith and that she was no passive woman, but a ferocious and sexual goddess who could use the power in the name of God and ignore angels with impunity. Inevitably, Lilith quickly became demonized into a night hag that killed babies, playing on the greatest fears of women, the safety and health of their children, and to turn them away from their own inherent powers. This, however, was simply untrue. Lilith was not alone in being demonized. As Brotherhood research through medieval grimoires quickly shows, it is true that many of those later called demons were merely corrupted versions of the names of old deities, like Astaroth being a corruption of Astarte or Ishtar. Apart from the phases of life that are influenced by dark goddesses, there are other aspects we need to consider to give a clear picture of a wide range of qualities that such goddesses represent. One such area is that of war and conflict. There have been many war goddesses, and most likely the Morrigan of the Gaelic Celtic tradition is one of the best examples. Due to her sexual and combative nature, the Morrigan could not be assimilated into the pantheon of saints like Bride, who was the goddess Bridget, and then became demonized into the Irish dark spirit of the Banshee, or Bianchi. Ishtar is another good example of a ferocious, sexual, and martial goddess who challenged all the male stereotypes. Why should a goddess represent combat when war has often been considered the domain of men? The Brotherhood have known for a long time that the scariest person on the planet is a mother protecting her children, so perhaps it is not all that surprising to the Brotherhood Covenanter that understands this truth fully. Revenge and retribution are another aspect that we see embodied in the dark goddesses. Goddesses such as Nemesis, who punished people who transgressed against Themis and the natural balance of events, would feel her wrath. Another transition which has always brought challenges is that of old age. Old age brings fears of mortality, of facing our shadows, the fear of what's beyond and unknown and unknowable. The death goddess represents the fulfillment of all the earlier phases of life. No longer fertile, her creative power is not that of life, but of wisdom and death. Her totems are associated with death like the raven, crow, vulture, and owl. Images of death, decay, and decomposing associated with death deities have always frightened humankind, but certainly not the Brotherhood, and continue to be one of the main undercurrents of our society today, as it was in our ancient history as well. Death can steal our dignity and come at any time. It is the unwelcome stranger to those who have never faced death. Sex and death are the eros and thanatos principles of psychology, and are probably the two strongest forces that have shaped the way we live our lives, and more so as Brotherhood Covenant. For we wisely know that sex is a creative and life-affirming act, and death is the inevitability of the end that awaits us all. Goddesses of death like Kali are often depicted as being hideous, very frightening, ancient, and unstoppable. She is the devourer who will swallow us no matter what we may do to placate her. Again, this aspect has tended to be demonized through fear, rather than accepted as a part of the natural cycle of existence that the Brotherhood understands it as being. Okay, so you have a kind of an idea of our perspective about the dark goddess herself, right? And I thought if we're talking about Lilith, I have to kind of give a little bit of more information. So I had an excerpt of one of my coven classes about what a dark goddess really represents, right? Like Lilith. Now, let's take it back a little further about Lilith, right? So there's three origins out there in both real history, okay, and what we might call pseudo history, which is a more history that has been presented as more speculative history. So you have Lilith being a Mesopotamian goddess. You have Lilith being an ancient Canaanite goddess. You have Lilith being Hebraic, right? And of course, you have Lilith even being described as possibly Sumerian. Okay, now here's where it gets tricky, doesn't it? Because you're going back into what we know is a mystery. Okay, and that's often why Drew says a lot of these things are the satanic mysteries, right? Okay, they're really mysteries because we didn't live back at that time. Some of our souls are reborn, have been reincarnated in this time for reasons to bring back the Brotherhood and other things. That's true. But we can only remember so much of those lives. Okay. Back to Lilith. So ask yourself, now in ancient Sumerian history and mythology, we have Inanna as the mother of the Sumerian goddesses, correct? Okay, and we do see Inanna pictured on a temple wall, holding what appears to be DNA, human DNA, our genetic symbology. which would make Inanna, to most theorists, being the first mother of gods. But there's so much speculation now about Lilith. How old really is Lilith, right? Remember, and the Brotherhood does champion this claim as well, that there was always in the background, in the shadow, so to speak, that belief that Lilith was the mother of the demons. We know how badly she was demonized later, okay? Much like Mary Magdalene. Okay, another story. So we know that all these things about Lilith bring us back to those clues, right? Okay, so everything is a code and everything is a clue, but more so it's a vibration, a frequency of energy. Okay. So in the theory, esoteric as it may be, that Lilith is the mother of the Brotherhood and mother of the demons. That would make Lilith being the original mother demoness, the original mother demoness goddess. Because remember, before the word daemon was ever used, diabolos just means flowing down or descending. Could be very easily our ancient ones, right? Okay. It's all there, though. Okay, so there's the thing. Now, is it just because we feel that this is really the truth about it? No, we definitely have seen Lilith described in so many histories and researches out there as being the mother of the demons. Now, how could she be the mother of the demons if there was another mother that was older than her, too? Say Inanna. Okay. There's other Brotherhood theory that leaves a real big dark question mark, right? What if this demoness mother goddess that Drew's describing to everybody, and we're calling Lilith today, which is her name, was all the same mother demons? Okay. But she existed throughout all these different threads and ancient brotherhoods, the mystery schools, and all these ancient pagan cultures, right? But she had different names ascribed to her. Because you're talking the mother goddess, the mother of all the demons, the mother of the old ones. This would definitely make Lilith being much, much older even than Inanna. Wow. Okay. Older than Isis? Wow. Okay. Now, the reason we believe that this could be a very positive way to look at things, okay, and it could be it is, like I said, a bit of conjecture and some speculation. It's there. But if you look at Lilith in every way, it does line up. It absolutely does. Wow. Okay. Now, women, I believe most of you, and not meaning to offend any of the alternative genders that we have today, but we're going to say women. Okay. We know that you ladies do understand how important Lilith is to the left-hand path then, and to women Satanists. How important it is to connect to her, right? And she has become a symbol today of a woman of strength, okay? A woman that's not subservient to man. A woman that can make her own decisions. A woman that can be strong without man's help. Now, I believe this is always true about women, There was actually ancient cultures here on the planet. There's proof of it. Do all the deep research Drew does, and over a span of a lifetime like me, you'll find it. There's female cultures here. Wow. Yep. And they were the oldest cultures on the earth and guided. Another story for Drew to talk about at a future time. Okay. So, actually, in reality, then, females have this unbroken continuity succession, just like I say about the Brotherhood, going back to mystery schools. The female genders also have this. You have a continuity that goes that far back. And you need to identify. Take the archetype of Lilith, everything Lilith represents, bring it into yourself as ladies. Become very, very strong. Okay? All of you becoming stronger, and you're born with this. You're born with this. Okay? All of you becoming stronger is the will of Lilith today. Female Satanists should take the sword. Take that sword. It's yours. And half of the wheel of the year, that sword is held by you, the dark goddess, to rule half a year. And even in the other half of the year, the Brotherhood male that's in power, that holds that sword for that half of the year, only holds that sword because of your power. Power granted to him from our dark mother. Fact, not fiction. Okay. This brings me to that subject. So, ladies, keep on keeping on. And I'm honored to be able to speak on behalf of the daughters of Lilith and our mother of darkness about Lilith. I'm very honored to be able to be the male that gets to speak about this. Okay. And it's real important what I'm going to say next. I'll tell you another good example about Drew being honored by females. Big pagan festival here in Northeast Georgia. I took Raven and Craven with me one year, and they found that people that I knew from the Midwest, that remembered me even, were actually the people running that festival, right? Which was kind of cool. They remembered Drew from a long time back. You know why? Because I stood out always in what I did in the occult world. But I was granted something that no other male there, 400 pagans were there. Okay. I was granted something none of the rest got granted. I was actually the male high priest that held the matriarchal axe that guarded the women's sweat lodge. I also brought in the stones into the women's sweat lodge when all the women were in the sweat lodge. No man could come up that hill or I would have cut their head off with that double-headed matriarchal axe. Fact, not fiction. So this isn't the first time I've been honored by the dark feminine. And don't think that I, above all people, would not know that it is the deepest honor that I could hold is the blessing of the dark mother. So I want to thank everybody for that. But let me go into what I needed to talk about. Satanist men. Wow. A lot of times we want to go overtly wearing the horns. Okay, the more masculine, the more fire, the more earth primal entity or energies, right? The earth god. Now, there's nothing wrong with that because we do represent something also. That's another story. We can go into that another time, though. Okay. But what I'm getting at is something really important. How does a Satanist man identify more with our mother, Lilith? Because I feel that men need to do this in Satanism in the left-hand path. We need to identify more with who our mother is, okay? And in a way to do that is you've got to understand our mother. But before you do that, you got to understand, guess what, as a Satanist, yourself as a male Satanist. Now, what does Drew mean? All right, now let me break it down. Every gender, every human being, let's just say take gender out of it. Every human being has two sides to their nature, what Drew calls two polarities. You have the female and you have the male polarities within each of us. Doesn't matter what we were born as, what physical body we were born as. We have it in us. We have both polarities with us. A woman has the masculine polarities as well as her female polarities. A man has the masculine polarities as well as the female polarities the same way. Okay. So yes, the protective, the power, the protector, the strong power of fire, the anvil holder, the warrior. Okay, all these things, yes, are identified with the male aspect. But what about these other things that we have? Drew has them. I wouldn't be called Papa by so many people if I didn't have it. It's called a nurturing side, right? Remember, the word nurture means to nurture, nature, natural, to nurture, to help something grow. That's from the Dark Mother, everybody. That's a feminine energy, a feminine polarity. But again, it's in a masculine temple, masculine body. Okay. So we have the nurturing side too, guys. And guess what that is? That's our feminine side. Okay. Now, we always talk about balance in Satanism, especially Brotherhood Satanism speaks of this balance, right? That we have to walk in balance. That's why both of our principal entities in Brotherhood covens and in a lot of our rituals in the Brotherhood are Lilith and Samael. Again, for why? For a balance. Because a real Satanist, Brotherhood Satanist especially, we know that balance already lies within us. It's both those polarities you just talked about. Men need to be more in touch with that feminine side too. No, that doesn't mean we're going to be wusses. Drew's very strong, and Drew can be very loving. I can be very destructive. I am destruction. I am death a lot of times of the year. I still have that nurturing side though, because Drew walks in balance. Part of walking in balance for the male Satanists out there is to be in touch with both sides of these polarities within your own satanic temple. When you can walk in balance like that, your black flame is going to burn brighter. Okay. Now, let's Drew go a step further here. When I'm talking about these polarities and talking about Mother Lilith, you must talk about these polarities latent in all Satanists and left-hand pathers. We must talk about it. Wow. Walking in balance as a Satanist is so important. And this is a tenet. This is something the Mother Lilith wants us to understand as male Satanists. She wants us to know and love her as much as we as males know and love Samael and Satan. And the time for this is now. Lilith, very powerful mother goddess. Why would we not want to have part of her within us as males? Why would we want to walk unbalanced? Now, Drew doesn't want to walk unbalanced. Drew has never walked unbalanced. And Drew's not going to walk into the future unbalanced either. This is our time to honor our mother Lilith and to present her to the world, not demonized any longer, okay, as the real powerful mother that she is. I don't care about people. Well, Lilith was a vampire goddess. Guess what? Most of the Dark Mother goddesses were vampiric. That's why Drew says there's another theory out there that could very well have been the same one. So no, I'm not saying Lilith is this little fluff bunny goddess that was presented by Wiccans later on. There's no fucking way she is. And almost every dark goddess on the planet, do the study and research. Wow. I'm really surprised at how many people were able to be conditioned by Wicca. But Gerald Gardner, a little collaboration from Crowley as well. Crowley had some real good shit to say, really good stuff to say. I think where Crowley messed up is he ran into Gardner. Okay, another story. But believe me, Drew's the one that could discuss it all. The goddess, just like Satan, has always been there. She's never been a fluff bunny goddess. She's always been dark. Okay, let's go back to this one about dark goddesses too. And we are speaking about Lilith, the mother of the Brotherhood, so I'm going to bring it up. Fairies. Let me tell you the truth about fairies, guys. They were always dark. Mischievous as hell. Hide your shit. Oh, my family has many stories about them. Okay. And no, they're not the demons. They're separate entities. The Fae. They're a lot like the demons in some ways. If you enter into their world, you may not be able to return. Okay. It's kind of like Drew with Brotherhood Satanism in his whole life, right? Once you're in, you don't leave. Right? You can't. Immortal are you no more. You become as they are. Blue Oyster Cult talks about it in the song, Don't Fear the Reaper. We have become like they are. Okay. Lilith. I'm going to continue to champion Lilith. I'm buying necklaces for all the daughters of Lilith that's going to be presented to them on behalf of a master counselor, Drew, who's a male arch high priest who loves Lilith and wants to do this for the ladies and the daughters of Lilith. They're going to be presented there when we do a live stream from the Daughters of Lilith at the October 2024 Samhain Fest. Offline national event. Dark Arts Sabbath Festival national event. We have one coming up in spring, too. You don't want to miss that one. Again, I get to talk about what Drew calls dark goddesses, right? Because I'm going to be doing a Basque class on Basque witchcraft, showing some of my own bloodline connections to the Basque. Geographical maps, everything. It's going to be fucking cool. But I've always championed the Dark Mother. Somewhere off the beaten path, I really think this was probably after 1966 when the Church of Satan was founded. They wanted to move away from the balance in dark witchcraft, satanic witchcraft that existed before Wicca, right? And that's where, we got off the beaten path, guys. This is really the truth of it, okay? Satanic witchcraft existed well before Wicca, right? Well before we were ever called Satanists or satanic witches. Our man in black, our sabbatic goat was there. This has already been proven. I've proved it in other classes, but okay. So what we're saying about all these different things, including our mother Lilith, right, is really open for you to be objective about Lilith, okay? Because Drew's not saying believe every word Drew tells you about Mother Lilith. I want you to study Lilith. But don't go in for the false rhetoric that's been presented to really demonize Lilith. No offense to our word demon, okay? But it's a fact, okay? So learn to be able to pick out the truth from the falsehood that you'll find in a lot of things. I'm just giving you an objective brotherhood perspective about it, okay? And a way to look at it. And the way to look at our Mother Lilith, right? Deanne Fortune said something very similar to what Drew's own theories about our dark mother goddess, our demoness mother goddess. You know, Deanne Fortune said, and I really think that she was clued in on something, right? She said, all goddesses are one goddess. All gods are one god. There's one initiator. Well, if you're doing that, you're taking it back primal then, to me. Okay, you're going to take it back primal. You're going to have your horn god and your goddess, the mother goddess. The consort, the horned one is the consort of the mother. Deanne Fortune onto something? I really think she was. And it leaves that question of who was she referring to when she said that there's but one initiator? I'll tell you what she meant. That one initiator is yourself as a left-hand pather and as a Satanist. You know why that is? Why I'm saying it was yourself, the one initiator? Because when you get to that point in your satanic path that you know that in the end all paths are one, it's all one dark satanic path, all the dark occult is ruled under the agency of Satan and our mother Lilith, then you'll come to full circle in understanding the eternal return. Again, let me take this time to hail our mother Lilith. She's everything in one. All in one package. If at this time of year, we as individual Satanists and left-hand pathers, you know, experience the joy of receiving gifts at Yule, let me remind us all, there's one gift that everyone seems to forget, and that gift is our mother Lilith. Without whom no other demons would have walked this planet. They would not have been able to receive the key from Lilith to be able to move between the dimensions, between their world and ours. Hail Lilith, my only real mother. So mote it be. Thanks for your time, everybody. May you all live long and prosper. Be in good health with good cheer. Always remember, hail our mother. For without her, we would not be.